everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this week's reading vlog. So the focus of this week's reading vlog is going to be my Foxenwood TBR. So Foxenwood is the name of Lexi's Patreon. I'll link her channel below if you'd like to check her out. She's a wonderful booktuber, and every season she does a readathon that is for a specific tier and above in her Patreon. And while I can't tell you what the prompts are, I can show you the map. And I can tell you what book I'm going to read for each stage of the map, even though I can't tell you how it fulfills the prompt that happens to go along with the stage. So I'm going to quickly run you through my TBR so you'll know what my reading plans are for this week. So I've got the names of the spots on a piece of paper down here. So if you see me looking down, that's why. So first up, we need to take the Sea Monster Ferry, and for this, I'm going to be reading The House of Hades by Rick Riordan, and this is the fourth book, yes. In the Heroes of Olympus series, this is the other book I had to get through for my kind of Percy Jackson universe read-along, so very excited to be getting to this and diving into my reread of book 4. Then we have to stop at the Whistle Pot Tea Shop, and for that one, I'm going to do Hey Kiddo, How I Lost My Mother, Found My Father, and Dealt with Family Addiction. This is my nonfiction of the month, and it's a graphic novel, so I'm very excited to be checking this one out. From there, we will make our way to the Moondust Bakery, where I will be reading The Forgotten Five by Lisa McMahon. So this is one of my latest round of 5-star predictions, so you won't hear my thoughts on this book in this vlog, because I'll be saving that for my 5-star prediction, but I did want to let you know that it was on my TBR and that I would be reading it, and I will let you know when I'm done reading it. From there, we go to the Goblin Market, and I will be reading Momo Arashima Steals the Sword of the Wind for that one. And I don't know much about this, but I saw a picture of the cover on Twitter, went and read what the book was about, said, ooh, that sounds good, and it's got, you know, this cute little fox on the cover, so I think I'll snag that. So hopefully I will enjoy this one. I believe it's a middle grade fantasy that probably has something to do with, like, Miss lore, maybe? Yeah, Death Hag straight out of those childhood stories attacks Momo. So, yeah, I definitely could see that having something to do with myths or legends or something along those lines. From the Goblin Market, we make our way to the Enchanted Forest. And for that, I will be reading A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Albus. This is a historical fiction that follows kids who are displaced by World War II and are trying to find a place to kind of, you know, make a home. As I believe they were being raised by their grandmother and they have no family, so they're trying to find a family. So very curious to see how things turn out for these kids. We then go to the Midnight Spell, and I'm going to be reading The Ogress and the Orphans. This is the middle grade March book club pick. I don't remember what the name of the book club is, but it's the people who do middle grade March. They have a book club now, and this is the pick for May. And I've read The Witch Boy by Kelly Barnhill, which I didn't like, and The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I think that's what it's called. And I did enjoy that one, so I'm very curious to see where I fall on this one. And then our final stop is Juniper Evergreen's Emporium and Rescue. And for this, I'm going to read Big Little Spies by Krista Davis. So this is the next book in the Paws and Claws mystery series. It's a cozy mystery. I'm very excited to dive back into this series. I am so glad to have a cozy mystery on this TBR because, well, I love them. They're quick, easy reads. So yeah, that is my TBR for the Foxenwood Readathon. Even if I can't tell you why I chose those books, those are the books I'm going to be focused on. The other books I will probably be working on this week are Kingdom of the Wicked, because I started this and I would like to finish it. And then, please, to the reading gods, The Bone Season, because I would really like to finish this, because I'm enjoying it. And I don't know why I put it down and then just stare at it and don't pick it back up, because I'm enjoying it. I think the main reason is because I don't have an audiobook, and right now my concentration without audiobooks is not great. I've read a few this week where I didn't have an audiobook, but it's slower. I can tell you that Kingdom of the Wicked, the Skullduggery Pleasant book, is an audiobook. I know I have The House of Hades as an audiobook. I know I have Big Little Spies as an audiobook. I don't know about the rest of them. I don't think I have Hey Kiddo, which is fine because it's a graphic novel, Mapper Flames, or Momo Arashima. I think I have A Place to Hang the Moon, and I don't know about the Ogress and the Orphan, so it might be an actually physical, like, heavy reading week. So we shall see how I do, and if I can get through all of that, I have, well, a bunch of other books I would like to get through. I think the main goal would be The Scoop, because I think it's the last book that's on, like, my TBR, like Phase 10 or Readathons or whatever, that is not like a specific week-long readathon kind of thing. And then I don't know what I would read if I managed to get through all of this, because I can tell you the stack that I just picked this up off of is my Final Book Support Group TBR, so I can't read any of those. Oh, I have Mad Ship, which is definitely on my TBR, so probably that. That will definitely be one I get to this week, because that is the second book in the Live Ship Trader series, and that came out of my TBR jar, and I put it on my TBR, and I definitely have an audiobook for that one, so maybe that'll be my goal this week, is to somehow squeeze that in. I think it's doable, because we're talking about, like, a middle grade YA reread, a middle grade nonfiction graphic novel, a middle grade fantasy, a middle grade fantasy, a middle grade historical fiction, a middle grade fantasy, and an adult cozy mystery. All of those should be very quick reads. So if I can get through those relatively quickly, then there's no reason I can't read Mad Ship, especially considering this is a map. Like, to finish the map, I kind of have to go in order. So, like, I have to read The House of Hades before I can read Hey Kiddo, etc., etc. So I will probably end up picking up the Mad Ship to read, like, when I want to break that up, since I can't just switch books, because I'm never reading one book at a time, ever. So, yeah, we'll see. But that's my plans for this week. I wanted to let you know. And, yeah, hopefully I will check in soon and let you know how I'm doing. It is now Friday, and I thought I would check in because I've actually read some stuff. So it's going to be a day of filming anyways, because I have several more videos or clips that I need to film after this, so I figured it was a good time to check in. First off, I wanted to update you on my Foxenwood Readathon. The cat just tried to jump on the desk and missed. I'm assuming she's trying to figure out how to get in my vlog. But I'm not over at my desk, am I, Ellie? No. Anyways, the first stop, I've got my list here, was the Sea Monsters Fairy, and for this prompt, I read The House of Hades. This was a reread for me, and I'm giving this 4.5 stars. I'm still really, really enjoying my reread of The Heroes of Olympus, though I don't enjoy it as much as Percy's series, and I definitely don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy the Trials of Apollo, but it is still interesting to be back in this series with the knowledge that I have of going forward. It's also interesting to see the things I've forgotten, and now she's falling off of the bookcase. You're just struggling today, aren't you, Cielo? See, here I am. I am definitely enjoying my reread, and I'm excited to finish this out next month and then start the Trials of Apollo, because Apollo's my favorite character in the entire Percy Jackson universe so far. So very excited to be getting into that. And like I said, I enjoyed my reread of this and kind of picking up on things that I didn't pick up on my first read through. Next, for the Whistlepot Tea Shop, I read Hey Kiddo, How I Lost My Mother, Found My Father, and Dealt with My Family Addiction. And I gave this book 4 stars. This is a graphic novel that follows Jarrett as he tells kind of his story, dealing with, you know, all of the family issues he had. His mom was a drug addict. His dad wasn't in his life when he was a kid. He was raised by his grandparents. And we get to see his life, basically. How all of that affected him, like being raised by his grandparents, not having his dad in his life, his mom being an addict. Like, it just really shaped who he is as a person. It's a graphic novel. I wasn't a huge fan of the art style, but I do like his explanation for why he did certain things the way he did, which I thought was interesting at the end, like in the author's note. It was an interesting look into his story, and I enjoyed it, and getting to see how, you know, Jarrett's life played out based on things that were out of his control as a kid. Then the next prompt to fulfill is the Moondust Bakery, and for this I read The Forgotten Five Map of Flames. This is a 5-star prediction, so I won't be talking about my thoughts and ratings for this in this video, but I wanted to let you know that I finished it and it allowed me to move on to the next prompt. So I'm now in the Goblin Market and I'm reading Momo Arashima Steals the Sword of the Wind, and I'm on page 114, so I'm making decent progress in this. So this book follows Momo, and she ends up finding out that her mother is a Shinto goddess who was protecting this passageway, and she cannot do that from Momo's, like, dwelling. She has to do it from the place where she was supposed to protect. And there are these evil beings that are now coming to our world, and Momo has to kind of go and face them because her mom has kind of fallen ill and can't do so herself. I believe this has a lot of mythology. I think Japanese. And I'm enjoying it so far. It's quite interesting. It's got, like, the same feel you get with, like, Percy Jackson or Aru Shaw. And I really, really like those series. So I'm enjoying this one and getting to learn about another culture's myths. Very curious to see where this goes. She's on this journey with a boy named Daniel and a fox named Nico. And I'm not quite sure what to make of either one of them yet. But I'm very, very curious. Because Daniel isn't exactly her friend, and we've been told foxes aren't to be trusted, so I don't know. I guess we'll see where it goes, but I'm enjoying it so far. I'm also in the midst of How to Astronaut by Terry Virts, which is an nonfiction that is about, well, Terry's time as an astronaut. It's quite interesting to see, you know, his journey and the things he's deciding to highlight about, you know, being an astronaut, what it's like to be in space. He was on the International Space Station. It's been interesting to see which parts of his journey he's decided to highlight, and I'm enjoying it so far. I've been on a bit of a space kick, so very glad that I had this to pick up, and I don't think I said I'm on page 142, so making decent progress in this too. And then the other book I'm in the midst of is Kingdom of the Wicked, and I'm on page 295, so another book that I'm making decent progress in. I'm constantly got more than one book going. This is the 7th book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series, and it's been quite interesting to see some of the twists that Skullduggery and Val have faced in this one. We've had some characters return from previous books, like pop up in this one that hadn't been necessarily featured in the last book, so I'm curious to see how they play into things, and yeah, continuing to enjoy my read of this series. The only other update I have for you is that I finally finished the Bone season. So I have been reading this for ages. I would read a chunk, enjoy it, set it down, walk away, and then wait a month to pick it up again. But I have finally finished this, and I'm giving it 4.25 stars. So this is a futuristic world where some people have kind of these powers, and our main character is Paige, and she has the ability to dream walk, and she gets captured by this group that are known as Readathon. They're otherworldly beings that are taking care of the clairvoyance for the government, because the government doesn't want these clairvoyants running around. And she ends up, like I said, kidnapped there and is stuck away from her friends and has to figure out how to survive this new place that she's found herself in, and these Readathon people, because she doesn't quite know who they are or what their motives are, and she definitely doesn't trust them, and one of them is kind of in control of her because they're broken down into bone seasons, and the kind of hierarchy there is they get drafted by these people and kind of split apart each bone season it comes in, and she gets picked by the warden. And she definitely does not trust him, and he is kind of responsible for her while she's in this new location. So I'm probably not doing a very good job explaining it, but I really did enjoy it. I loved getting to see Paige and see how her dream walking worked, see how it grew throughout the book, learning about the other kind of clairvoyance and different powers that they have, learning more about the warden and the other Readathon and how they kind of differed from clairvoyance. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed the journey, and I'm looking forward to reading book 2. And hopefully I won't have the problem with book 2 where I pick it up, read, put it down, walk away, pick it up, read, put it down, walk away, and I can just kind of read it in a much quicker succession. So I very much enjoyed this, and yeah, I wish I had read it all in one sitting, but I did read it, I did enjoy it, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So that is my update. I'm sorry if this wasn't the best clip. I'm not exactly feeling great about being on camera, and I tend to struggle sometimes with explanations and words when I don't particularly want to be on camera, but I do want to film, and I have content that I would really like to get out. So I apologize if this clip is kind of all over the place or I seem a bit off. That's why. But yeah, I'm gonna go now because, like I said, I have multiple other things I need to film, and hopefully they will be a little less rambly than this one, but we shall see. And I will probably check back in with you Monday to let you know if I finished my Foxenwood TBR. So it is now Monday the 22nd, which means it's time to check in and wrap this Foxenwood vlog up. And my helper came here the moment I said camera, because I was saying I need to film this even though I don't want to be on camera. So here we go. We're going to try to zip through this. So the last time we spoke, I was in the Goblin Market. And for that, I read Momo Arashima Steals the Sword of the Wind, and I gave this book 4 stars. I quite enjoyed the start to Momo's journey. There were some things I didn't like. So she's on this quest with this boy named Danny, who she was friends with when she was little, but as they got older, he stopped being friends with her and is part of the crowd that kind of bullies her or teases her or is just not nice to her at school. So it creates this interesting dynamic, and I can never tell whether we should be trusting Danny or not. And there were parts of that I wasn't a huge fan of, but I think it has an interesting start because this is the start to a series. So I'm very curious to see how their relationship plays out in the second book. I really enjoyed getting to learn the mythology that was in this book, and be exposed to, again, a whole new set of myths that I had never heard of. And I thought the book did a good job of explaining that and setting things up. I liked Momo's journey and the kind of arc that she went on to get her to the point that she was at the climax of the book. And like I said, I'm curious about where this story goes. So this is definitely a series I see myself continuing. So 4 stars, very happy with that. Then from the Goblin Market, we went to the Enchanted Forest. And for that, I read A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Albus. And I gave this book 4.5 stars. This follows 3 kids, William, Edmund, and Anna. And their grandmother dies, and she was the one who was kind of raising them. And it's World War II, and they don't really have a guardian. So their solicitor, like the grandmother's solicitor, suggests that they go and evacuate with a local school to the countryside and see if maybe while they're out there, they can find somebody who would make good guardians for them. So that is what they do. So we see them evacuate to the countryside during World War II and try to stay together and try to find somebody who could be suitable guardians for them. And I really, really enjoyed this book. I have read several middle grades where we see kids evacuate to the countryside during World War II to avoid the bombings in London. And this was another brilliant addition to that kind of trope or concept, however you want to look at it. And I really love the relationship between William, Edmund, and Anna, and how much love you can see between the three of them. And it is interesting to see who they meet in the new village they're in and how that kind of plays out. So many family vibes throughout this book. Really, really love this story. It was just missing that one thing that would have given it the 5-star. After we leave the Enchanted Forest, we had to go to the Midnight Spell. And for that, I read The Ogress and the Orphans by Kelly Barnhill. This is also the Middle Grade March book club pick because the crew from Middle Grade March has created a book club. I will link info about that in the description below if you'd like to check it out. But this was our choice for May, and this follows a group of orphans, obviously, who live at an orphanage, and the town they live in is just miserable. Things seem to be going wrong. Nobody seems to care about anybody else, and this orphanage is really struggling. And on the outskirts of town lives an ogress. And one day, a child goes missing, and everybody assumes it's the ogress, and it kind of puts a lot of pressure on her. What they don't know is that the ogress, along with her pack of crows, has been delivering gifts to the town. So it goes in direct kind of like conflict with the idea that the ogress is doing these nice things, and yet it looks like she might have kidnapped a child. So the orphans kind of have to set out to get to the bottom of things and, you know, maybe show the town that the ogress isn't the mean monster that she thinks she is, and try to help turn down the dire straits that are happening in the town. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I really, really love this one. This was another one that had a lot of family vibes. Though more of like a found family, because you have the orphanage, and the kids in the orphanage definitely feel like a found family. And it's just so brilliant. Again, how they show how they care about one another, how the two adults that are running the orphanage show how they care. It's really interesting the way this story is told and kind of narrated, because it's narrated by a kind of POV. Like, there is a bit of a narrator, and you kind of discover who that is throughout the book. I bought the audiobook so I could listen along, and I'm so glad I did, because the audiobook was fantastic. I really enjoyed the audiobook narrator, and I really think that helped bring the novel to life. And yeah, really glad I decided to pick this up. I have a so-so relationship with Kelly Barnhill, because I read The Girl Who Drank the Moon and enjoyed it. And I read The Witch Boy, and I really didn't like that one. So I'm glad that I chose to pick this one up and give it a try, because I really, really enjoyed this one. And then for the last prompt for my Foxenwood TBR, we leave our Midnight Spell and we go to Juniper Evergreen's Emporium and Rescue. And for this, I read Big Little Spies by Krista Davis. So this is the 7th book in the Paws and Claws mystery series. And in this series, we follow Holly, who runs a inn that caters to pets with her grandma. And in this one, the inn is hosting some guests from the, the Wagtan Animal Guardians, or the WAGs for short. And they're going to be doing a pet adoption charity ball. So obviously, Holly and co are trying to make sure that they have a great time. And while they're setting up for this, a local retired judge loses his pup, hires a private investigator to try to find his dog, and the PI turns up dead. And it soon comes out that the women of the WAG crew knew and had relationships and interactions with the dead PI. So now Holly's on the case trying to figure out whether any of the women were involved in the murder. There were a lot of twists and turns in this one. Did I say I gave this book 4.25 stars? If not, I'm saying it now. Sometimes I get so into wanting to tell you the description that I forget whether I told you what I rated it. Anyways, I really enjoyed the mystery in this one. Like I said, lots of twists and turns, and it constantly feels like they found new ways to kind of up the game in this series, where you have a lot of stuff going on and you have no idea whether those things are connected. So really enjoyed getting to see that enacted in this one. I just wasn't quite as invested in this mystery as I have been in others. So that's why it's getting 4.25 stars, but I'm still really enjoying the series, and I enjoyed putting the pieces together with Holly and seeing the antics that her dog Trixie and cat Twinkletoes got up to. So another brilliant addition to the series, and it means that I finished my Foxenwood TBR. Technically, I finished this on Monday, like at like 2-ish in the morning, but I wanted to kind of finish it. I knew I only had like an hour left, so I figured it didn't matter that I wasn't doing it right at midnight, because normally I end my vlogs with, this is what I read at midnight. Like, now it's midnight on Monday, like between Sunday and Monday, and I've now stopped, but I decided to include that because it made a lot more sense to include that in this vlog than to go, yeah, I finished all but the last hour of that book, so you'll find out my thoughts on that in the next one. So I just kind of lumped it in here. So I did make progress in one other book, and that is Skullduggery Pleasant, Kingdom of the Wicked. I am on page 418. I think I have like an hour left in the audiobook, so I should be able to, like, at the speed I listened to it at. So I should be able to finish this soon. Really enjoying this one and very curious because we have some interesting, how to put, it's so hard talking about sequels because I don't want to give anything away, because that's a pet peeve of mine, is when somebody is, like, when I'm watching a booktube video, I'm like, I don't want any details about book 7 in the series. It's one thing to say, like, Skullduggery and Val are alive. They're our main characters. You kind of assume, but when I'm reading a series like this, like, I don't, especially one where we've seen characters die, I don't want to know if they're alive, and some of the twists give stuff away. So, like, just know there's a lot of twists and turns going on with this one, and I have no idea what to expect going forward with this. So curious to see how this one wraps up and to see where it leaves us, because it feels like we're kind of building to a potential, like, kaboom situation. So that's it. That's everything I've read this week. It wasn't as successful as other weeks, but I did get through my Foxenwood TBR, which was my main goal, so I'm very happy with that. And yeah, hopefully I will continue to keep this mojo rolling. So that's all for this vlog. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me fox emojis. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!